Hello and welcome. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic day. We're going to talk about cryptocurrency news. 60% are institutional investors, and that's the Coinbase customers. So in other words, I don't know if you're familiar with Coinbase. Coinbase is United States-based cryptocurrency exchange. They are one of the most reputable exchanges out there for U.S. customers that I'm aware of. If you know of anybody that I should consider, well, there's Coinbase, Gemini, and several others. But if you have any ideas that I should consider as far as a United States-based cryptocurrency exchange, I'd love to hear it in the comments below. In the meantime, they just recently announced that 60% of their transactions, 60% of their trades are done by institutional investors, by whales. And so I thought that was quite interesting. We're going to dig into this. We're going to dig deep. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion. I am not smarter than you. You are smarter than you realize. Do not trust what I say and do your own research. So, institutional investors now make up 60% of Coinbase trading. When Coinbase originally started, there were no institutional investors, and over time, that's just grown and grown. It's quite interesting that it has now reached a point where 60% of their trading, in fact, that could be different because today is November 25th, 2019, and this article was originally produced. I just noticed that. I thought it was a more recent article. Was produced May 19, 2019. So anyway, Brian Armstrong, Coinbase's co-founder and CEO, has revealed the majority of traders on Coinbase Pro are now institutional investors. Speaking to Fred Wilson, co-founder of Union Square Ventures and investor in Coinbase, Armstrong said 90% of the money in the world is tied up in institutions. Holy shamoly. 90% of the money in the world is tied up in institutions. I didn't realize that. That's a huge number. And so one of the things that we need to keep in mind, these guys have the vast majority of money in the world. So how is it that institutions became so wealthy? Well, I know that most institutions had some sort of other thing they did that produced the initial money that was invested. But then the institution itself over time took that money and continued to compound it. So they continued to make it grow year after year after year to where eventually today 90% of all the money in the world is tied up in institutions, into these organizations that are investing money for people that have a lot of money. And they say it's not just retail investors. So we started talking about these potential customers, and it's perfectly understandable about why somebody like Coinbase would pursue the institutional investors, since they have such a large share of the money in the world. If you were running your own cryptocurrency exchange, that would only make good sense, is to go where you can generate the most profit. And so they also went on to say, we've started adding features like OTC, which stands for over-the-counter trading through Coinbase custody, where these large block trades are starting to happen. And institutions have become 60% of our trading volumes in Coinbase Pro as well. Other more traditional players are now entering the market, like Fidelity. Fidelity has recently made a number of announcements this week about them launching their cryptocurrency trading and cryptocurrency exchanges. And so we're in exciting times as the cryptocurrency market is just on the verge of beginning to explode with new customers. And so the next few years should prove to be quite an exciting time in the cryptocurrency industry. Fidelity, which plans to start a Bitcoin trading for its institutional customers. Then there's the Bakkt exchange, and Bakkt went live just September 24th, just about 2 months ago, which plans to launch this in July. They didn't make it in July. They ended up launching in September, on September 24th. And the aim of Bakkt is to serve institutional investors. And that's true. The only people that can create an account on the Bakkt exchange are institutional investors. And so it is quite interesting to look at the numbers that run on the Bakkt exchange so you can see when the volume increases, you know that something happened on that day that got their attention. And if you can look at the pricing or something else, you can learn from what the institutions, what the whales are doing in terms of investing in cryptocurrency by watching the Bakkt exchange and taking a look at the charts and the data that's available directly on the Bakkt website. You can find that just by searching in Google. I'll also put a link in my YouTube description so that you can get to the Bakkt exchange and look at all the wealth of information that they have on their website. Institutional investors toward buying and selling Bitcoin while under the jurisdiction of the CFTC. And that is an important thing for a lot of institutions. They want to deal with regulated exchanges, regulated businesses, and the Bakkt exchange, since it is a joint venture between the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange, Starbucks, and Microsoft. The three of them have teamed up to build a cryptocurrency exchange. We can, there's a lot of security, and it's also under strict regulations. And so that makes a lot of people feel much more confident, much more secure, especially when they're dealing with, large wallets such as 100 million or 500 million or even $1 billion worth of money that they're investing into cryptocurrency. And so, in addition, it appears they could facilitate the acceptance of Bitcoin payments for large businesses like Starbucks. Starbucks is one of the companies that has helped the Bakkt exchange get started. And the interesting thing is come sometime in January or sometime in 2020, there will be an app released by the Bakkt exchange that can be used to buy coffee at Starbucks, as well as other retail establishments. And the other retail establishments will grow over time because you already know that the New York Stock Exchange has relationships with every major company in the United States and with their other exchanges worldwide. They have relationships with major companies all over the world. And so with them releasing an app where you can use cryptocurrency to buy things on those, different companies and stuff worldwide, it just makes perfect sense. So we're in for some exciting times. Finally, I want to ask, how can I be of service to you? If you have any questions that I didn't explain deeply enough, or I just didn't give enough information, or I said something that left you confused, please leave a question below. I also set up a Google form. Just find the link below. If you would prefer to communicate privately rather than putting a public comment out there, you can always use the Google link, and we would be happy to respond back to any questions that you have for there. In the meantime, I hope that you'll like, subscribe, and hodl. Have a fantastic day.